Welcome to Radware's Cloud DDoS Administrator Activities tutorial. By the end of this tutorial, you will be able to use Radware's Cloud DDoS and make the most out of its capabilities. To activate the Cloud DDoS service, a customer needs to be onboarded. Here are the activities that need to be performed in order to activate the Cloud DDoS service. Some services are performed by Radware's Cloud Operations team, and others need to be performed by the customer. Here are the activities that customers can perform by themselves. Note that the ability to perform an activity depends on the user's role in the system. A site defines the set of customer premises equipment, CPEs, and the GRE tunnels configured between the scrubbing center router and the customer's edges. Let's start by adding a site. To add a new customer site, on Radware's Cloud DDoS portal, click the Settings drop-down list and select Account Settings. Click the Sites icon. Click the Add Site button at the top right of the pane, and configure the required components such as site name and region for the site. Make sure that all GRE and CPE details are defined before saving. Note that creation, modification, or deletion of a site are granted to specific rules. To configure CPE details, select Account Settings from the Settings drop-down list in the Cloud DDoS portal and click the Sites icon. The Site Settings page displays the sites defined for this account and the CPE and GRE tabs for each site. To add a new CPE, click the Add option and set the CPE parameters as required. You need to set up GRE connections and direct or cross connections from the scrubbing center to the customer site. Start by adding a GRE tunnel or direct or cross connection. From Radware's Cloud DDoS portal, select Account Settings, click the Sites icon, and click the Add option. Set the destination IP address of the GRE connection. This address is the public IP address of the tunnel's source on the customer site. Set GRE parameters as required. A protected asset can be a network, IP subnet, or a specific service, IP address and port. The Assets pane enables managing information for protected assets. To manage a protected asset, click on the Settings drop-down arrow and select Account Settings and click the Assets option. The Assets table displays the traffic diversion parameters for the defined assets. The detailed information for each asset varies depending on the type of asset, server, or network. To add a new asset, click the Add option and configure the required parameters per the selected asset type. The ability to add, modify, or delete assets is role-dependent. For an asset to be considered for approval and eventually announced via the Cloud DDoS Scrubbing Center, the added asset must be submitted. In addition, the submittal must be accompanied by a relevant signed letter of authorization. To configure a server asset, start by setting the asset type as a server. Then configure the asset name and add one or more domains. To add or edit an associated site, click on the Real Site IPs option. Setting a health check is optional. To configure a network asset, select the network asset type. Then configure the asset name, IP range, and net mask. Defining a domain is optional. Note that for Radware to advertise a network block, it requires a signed letter of agreement to be approved by the ISPs. So, customers need to provide a signed letter of agreement and upload it here. A template for the letter of agreement is available here for the customer to download. You need to associate a relevant site to the network. You can also select one or more policies for monitoring. Setting a health check is optional. The user admin role can add, delete, and modify user details. To add a new user, click the Settings drop-down list in the Cloud DDoS portal and select User Management and click the Add option next to the User Management table. Edit the required parameters. You can configure the system to automatically send an email invitation to a user by checking the Send Email Invitation to the New User checkbox. From the invitation, a new user can activate their account, set a login password, and access the portal. A Radware Cloud DDoS Protection Services account is a customer's account associated with a specific security policy profile and protection plan. The Account Settings pane displays information about the account. To modify or delete an existing account, contact Radware Technical Support. To add an account, click the Settings drop-down list, select Account Settings, and click the Accounts icon. Then click the Add option that's above the Account Details table. The Account Settings table displays the account settings. Configure or modify the account details as appropriate. To learn more about Radware's Cloud DDoS Protection Services, please review these documents on Radware's Customer Portal. Thank you for your attention and your time. We hope you had an interesting and beneficial learning experience. For any questions, please contact training@radware.com. You may either view this tutorial again or close the browser to exit.